If you try to show up differently at work, but you keep slipping back into the same old habits, stay with me because I'm going to give you 3 steps you can start taking today to be seen for the real potential that you bring at work. So this playlist is focused on the opportunity that AI is going to bring into the future of work. A lot of companies are redesigning the way that they are thinking about jobs and roles and the skills that are required in these agentic organizations where humans now have to collaborate with technology. And as a part of that collaboration, there's going to be an enhancement of the human skills that are going to be needed for the future of work to be successful. And these are called the EPOCH skills. I broke down all of the key on-the-job experiences that you need to take to start to develop these EPOCH skills today so that you can develop into the future into the agentic organization model. The biggest takeaway for quiet professionals is that you need to turn your observation and engagement from inward to outward. And that might not feel natural for you because self-advocacy might be an area of opportunity. However, if you can step into that self-advocacy and be seen for yourself, you can be both quiet and influential. And at this point, you might say, hey, that sounds great conceptually, but I actually have been stuck in a cycle of inaction. I haven't been able to turn my intention into action because I've just been stuck for so long. So I'm going to cover 3 points with you today to address some of this. And that is negative self-talk, lack of follow-through, and also believing that it's too late to do something. So let's start with negative self-talk. That's where you continue to replay your self-doubts, your what-ifs to yourself, and it just seems like it's nonstop because your brain is in high alert, and especially in stressful climates where there are looming layoffs or AI fears, making the brain more sensitive to the threats that you perceive, and therefore it intensifies your feeling of worry. Practicing mindfulness can counteract this feeling. One tool that I do use as a cognitive behavioral coach is a worry window. What that looks like is that you're giving yourself 15 to 30 minutes to worry. And when you do that, you're not just worrying, you're also writing down your thoughts. Make sure that you time box it and use something like a timer, set it to that 15 to 30 minutes. And once that timer is up, you're moving on to the next thing. Why this works is that you're giving yourself the chance to worry and to feel your feelings, but it's being compartmentalized. So hopefully that reduces your negative self-talk throughout the day. But of course, we're humans, so we're going to have these negative self-thoughts emerge throughout the day, especially if you're just starting to address your mindset. So one thing that you can do when you are ruminating is that you put up a big red stop sign in your mind and really visualize that stop sign. It's big, it's red, it's in your face, and it's telling you to stop. And when you see it, you stop. The goal here is to really interrupt your negative self-thought and to put it away. Some of my clients also visualize other things, like they put a negative self-thought into a chest and then they literally throw it off a cliff. And I have other people who like to journal, so they will write out that thought, but what they do right after is they shut the book. So they had the moment to feel it, but they're moving on. Now, if this is all happening when you're about to step into a situation where you want to be showing up differently or practicing a new skill, maybe you've been meaning to speak up, or maybe you've been meaning to influence a decision differently, whatever it may be, and those self-doubts are creeping in, what you can do in the moment is just to visualize. Spend a minute just to think about what would success look like. What would it look like for you if you did speak up? What would it look like for you if you got the opportunity to shift direction in a meeting? And this visualization can actually solidify the belief that you can influence and that you can enhance your performance during a particular challenge. And why addressing negative self-talk is important as I now move into discussing our second point, which is the lack of follow-through, is because of the law of sustainment. So in basic terms, the law of sustainment says that people tend to struggle to maintain their actions when it's not aligned with their own self-perception. So this is why we need to focus on our thoughts first and reducing that interruption in how you spend your day, because your thoughts manifest into feelings and actions. And you can't change your actions if your thoughts are not congruent with those particular behaviors that you want to demonstrate. So ultimately, you need to be reframing what you think about yourself. And right now, your past experiences and memories are influencing how you perceive the current events. So you're unable to take action because your mind is anchored elsewhere. It's not anchored in development. So there are two things to try here. The first thing is something called flip it or a thought swap. So if you are going to do the previous exercise where you document your negative self-thought, what you would want to do is spend some dedicated time when you've stopped ruminating to revisit each of the statements that you've made and actively reframe them into something positive. And if you aren't able to do that immediately, at least reframe it into something neutral. So if one of the negative self-thought that comes up when you're about to do something that challenges yourself, that's going to be different for you on the job and for your colleagues, what you might be thinking is something like, I'll never be good at this. Then what you want to do is to write that down. And when you're in the mindset to look at this and reframe it, what your reframe can sound like is, I'm improving each time I practice. And make sure that you do say it out loud, and say it out loud multiple times. Do you actually believe what you're saying? I hope you do, because you are improving every single time that you step outside of your comfort zone. So when that negative self-thought pops up again the next time, you're going to then actively replace it with your new statement. And the second thing to try here is to really be thoughtful and genuine about your purpose and understanding your why. A lot of the clients that I work with tend to get stuck in the action that they didn't take. But think about your purpose. Why do you want to take this action in the first place? What is the reasoning for you genuinely deep inside, and how does that impact you? It might not even be about your career, promotion, or changing departments, or whatever that physical outcome is. It might actually be just trusting yourself, seeing value in yourself, being compassionate to yourself. So really understand your why you want to be pursuing this development action, and anchor yourself in that purpose. At the end of the day, you want to be creating new experiences that's going to strengthen those neural connections and create new stories and narratives for you so that you can predictably repeat the same actions that were tough for you before, and they will become easier. And this leads me to the third point, which is maybe it's just too late to change, but it's not. You might feel like it's too late to change because you've actually had trouble translating your intention into action. Maybe you've been too worried, you've been too concerned about how other people think of you. Maybe you've settled into a mold where others perceive you a particular way and you actually feel really comfortable in that, but it's not the outcome that you want. It's not the career that you want. You know that you are capable of more and you actually want more. And you have the agency, you have the capacity to change. In fact, a lot of companies assess potential by looking at the person's future capability. And one way to determine your future capability is in your learning agility. And some organizations might call it adaptability or flexibility or curiosity. There could be many, many different terms, but for the sake of this video, specifically for quiet professionals, I'd like to use the term coachability. And why I like this is because it demonstrates the two aspects that will enhance your authentic presence, which is a balance of your self-advocacy and your connectedness with others. So your self-advocacy in this case is your ability to demonstrate your learning agility, because it's not just an action that you do. You also need to demonstrate to others how you have demonstrated change, how you have demonstrated your ability to influence, how you have actually stepped into a situation differently that shows your adaptability and your flexibility, because doing the work in silence is going to get you the same outcome. So remember, the goal here is to increase your self-advocacy. So you need to make your intention known to others. And when you do finally take action, you need to be asking for feedback. You need to be telling others that this is an action that you took for these particular reasons that's going to be impactful for the company. And that's how you start to self-advocate. It isn't about bragging. but it is about making your contributions visible so others can actually see and stand by you for all the work that you are doing. And then this leads to the second aspect of coachability, which is that connection to others. The word coach implies that you are working with other people through your relationships. You have trusted people in your network who are going to mentor you, who's going to take the time to develop a relationship with you where they share their knowledge and their experience for your growth because they trust you, they see potential in you. Now look into your professional network and really think about how many people can you call on to be a mentor and or a sponsor for you. And if your answer is not a lot, this is an area for you to focus on. Not only because they're going to be in your corner when it comes to your career, it's actually going to help you against that negative overthinking. When we embrace relationships, when we open up to others, when we have conversations of substance, we actually are helping our mental well-being prosper. So really this is serving two purposes. Number one is ensuring that you have someone who's going to advocate for you in your career, but secondly, you're working on your mental fitness as well. And we know that we're more successful at work when we have better relationships, when we're being seen and heard and valued. So coachability is going to have a great impact for you in your career. So if you are stuck in any of the three areas that I talked about, just know that you don't have to do it alone. I do offer a 15-minute clarity call to help understand what is keeping you stuck. It's a safe and confidential space for you to share what you're going through. And I definitely can give you one action at least that you can start to take today. I also offer the same in my one-on-one coaching, and both items can be found in my links below. So coming back full circle to the intent of this playlist, which is about AI and agentic organizations and the reshift of work and skills in future companies. And a lot of the future is going to be definitely way more technologically advanced, but it's also going to be more human. And as a quiet professional, this is going to be advantageous for you because all the skills that are required to be successful in the future of work, you already possess. You just need to step in and allow others to see your potential. And the first step to doing this is actually an echo of what the future of work needs, which is more compassion and being more human. And that starts with yourself. Show yourself some self-compassion, show yourself the light, and allow others to see you for who you are because you genuinely believe that you can do more, you can contribute more, and that you have a great path ahead in your life and in your career, and you can achieve anything that you put your mind to.